Hi there, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm back again for yet another deck tech from MTG Broswell, and today we're going to go mono. It's one of the cards that people have been talking about a lot. I've played it a couple of times in draft now and I've really enjoyed it in draft. Is it a good commander? I'm not sure. There's a lot of things we've seen before, but I figured, well, we'll try it out, see what happens. And therefore, my deck tech today is all around Gwenna, Eyes of Gaea. 2 in the green for a 2/3 legendary elf druid soldier, if I remember correctly. And you can tap it to add 2 mana of any combination of colours and spend this mana only to cast creature spells or activate their abilities. Okay. Yeah, okay. Elf that gives us 2 mana. Yeah, okay. Next ability though is interesting though. Whenever you cast a creature spell with power 5 or greater, put a +1/+1 counter on Gwenna and then tap it. So green creatures with 5 power or more get cast, this gets untapped and get bigger. Now, I quite like this card. I have to say I would be more excited if the amount of mana you could tap it for was equal to the power, but I think that might have been seriously broken. But before we go any further with the deck tech, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, let me know what you think down below after I finish talking through it. So here's the deck itself, and unsurprisingly it's mono green. We've got a few little things in here. We've got Castle Gaea Brig to help get the big creatures out. We've got Command Tower just because of the different colour. Desert of Indomitable, Evolving Wilds, Fabled Passage, a whole load of forests. Gaea's Cradle, Gingerbread Cabin, the Oasis. Just, sack the Oasis up and maybe get that last 3 pointed damages in. Yeah. Kalani Garden, just so we have an early blocker. Miroko to help us draw cards. Nykthos, because we are playing a mono green deck. And I've said a couple of times now in previous deck techs, if I'm playing a mono-coloured deck, Nykthos is going to appear because that mana ramp is amazing. Notice the price of this deck in real life is going to be high because of Gaea's Cradle. You can take it out. You don't need it here. You just replace it with another forest. And you meant to say that's went past it. Got Reliquary Tower, Temple of the False God, Terramorphic Expanse, and Yavimar. Cradle of Growth, so we can turn everything into a forest if we need to, which could help. So the rest of the ramp: Tantalite, Soul Talisman, Soul Ring, and some creatures that produce mana. There's no point in going too overboard with it. We've got 36 lands in the deck. We've got a whole load of creatures that produce mana. We don't need to go heavily down the artifact ramp side. Yes, it's quite nice if Gwenna gets killed, but yeah, there's ways around it. So let's start with what I call the ramp half of the deck. And that is basically, as you can imagine, elves and birds. So Arbor Elf, Birds of Paradise, Elvish Mystic, Fine Order Elves, Lanoir Elves, they're in to help ramp. The other one drops I got in Essence Warning, so I figured I might like to gain some life as I go through it. And Burgeonings here as well. Just so that in those early games when we've got a handful of cards, when our opponents play lands, we get to put a land in and ramp a little bit quicker with a bit of luck. Especially if we can get this out on turn 1, it'll be lovely. The other one drops Elixir of Immortality to shuffle everything back in if it gets blown up, and Sensei's Divining Top. I would like to be able to manipulate the top of my deck. I would like to be able to see what I've got coming and try and find what I need. So hence why it's here, so we can manipulate it. What I don't ever think I'll ever understand is why we can't just pay 1 to scry 3. But I'm guessing there's some rule version that interacts with. So yeah, I can think of at least one creature that would be broken within the commander set. But yeah, still think it should be errated. Just my thought for the day. Going into the 2 drops anyway. Gala's Greeters is here, helps us with the treasure tokens when we get creatures in play and a bit of life gain. And we can make it big eventually. More mana ramping Incubation Druid, Paradise Druid, Sylvan Caryatid, and Voyaging Satyr. And then we've got Sylvan Shrine, so that gives us a way of going and finding our Gaea's Cradle, which I quite like. Rampant Growth, just to go and grab a basic forest. Once Upon a Time, just so we can go and grab whatever we need off our library. Hopefully we can play this before we play anything else. We haven't got to pay for the mana. And then Heroic Interventions here, just to protect everything once we've got it in play. 3 drops, Beast of Within to destroy the most annoying thing on the opponent's board. Hopefully, cast it a few times with Elixir of Immortality, so bear that in mind. Beastmaster's Ascension. We're going to have a lot of creatures attacking. Let's make those creatures massive. Can't see a fairer reason for doing that. Cultivate, just go and get some more forests out of our deck, make our draws a little bit bigger. Fight rigging does the whole hideaway thing, and if we can keep it in play, it chucks around some really nice +1/+1 counters that I'm happy to see at this stage. Growing Rights of Imhotep is the cheaper version of Gaea's Cradle. It does the same thing, but it does a little bit better because when it's an enchantment, you do get to go and find the 4 things you want. Go and find a creature from the top 4, I should say. So, yeah. Reclamation Sage, just to blow up annoying enchantments or artifacts that are destroying us. Wayward Sawtooth is the first of the 5+ creatures. That means we can cast it when we've got Gwenna in play to untap Gwenna and make Gwenna bigger. So that's why it's there. Also, additional land drops, fine by me. Wood Elves, Elvish Archdruid, Circle of Dreams, Druid, all there to ramp. Circle of Dreams is quite fun. It's like a 3-mana version of Gaea's Cradle, so hence why it's here. And Lifecrafters Bestiaries in as well, just for that scry at the beginning of the upkeep. Might as well have it in. And whenever we cast the instant spell, we can, creature spell, we can pay an extra 1 and draw a card, so reasonable to me. Explosive Vegetation to ramp a little bit harder. Monster Manual is something I really enjoy playing from Commander Legends Baldur's Gate, if I remember correctly. Yep. I know it's from Commander Legends, can't remember which one it's from. I like this. So, 1 and a green and tap it to put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. Thank you very much. Do that at the end of my opponent's turn. Do it after maybe someone's cast Wrath of God. And I want to get another creature into play. Seems like a good plan to me. Oracle of Mildai, extra land, play the top card if it's a land, thank you. Beast Whisperer for the card draw when we cast creature spells. Garrick to untap the lands. If you've ever had a Garrick in play and you've managed to untap the flipped version of Growing Rights of Cradle of the Sun and Gaea's Cradle, you know how upset your opponents get with this, so bear that in mind. Overworld Oddity is not a 5-drop, I'm aware of that, but Trample and Haste for 4 mana is very good, and with the amount of mana we can produce in this deck, getting it transformed into the 8/8 version that then pumps all other creatures and gives them Trample and Haste is not that difficult, hence why it's here. Solemn Sim, you've heard me talk about it enough by now, so there we go. Here we go then. So that's kind of all the ramp side of things. That's what I'm looking to get into with a few exceptions. But that kind of helps us ramp to where we're going to now. And where we're going to now is things hopefully with power 5 or more. There's a couple that aren't still, but I think you'll, Seedborn Muse, I'm guessing you already know the reason why that is in here. But we have got Thragtusk, that's 5 power. We've got Arborback. Hello. Speed up, there you go. Arborback Stomper, 5 power. Defiler of Vigor, 6 power. And helps us cast our creatures and makes them bigger. Yes, it costs us life, but that's why we've got Thragtusk and Arborback Stomper and Essence Warden in the deck. God Eternal Ronus to give everything double power and vigilance till the end of turn. Seedborn I've mentioned. Bit of card draw with Shamanic Revelation and that life gain that we probably need for the Defiler, along with Overrun, just so we can go, yep, win the game with this card. Obviously, this is the same effect as Garrick's Ultimate, but we're going to be using Garrick a lot to untap lands, so we're probably not going to use the Ultimate until we're on to like 5, maybe 6 loyalty counters. 6 drops, Bootletter's Stash, just so we can have some extra treasure. Crash the Party, we're going to have a lot of tapped creatures. A lot of the time, especially if we've got Seedborn Muse in play. But even if we've got Seedborn Muse in play, we can put the Seedborn Muse trigger on the stack, tap all our elves, our Birds of Paradise to get all the mana, cast Crash the Party. We'll get all those nice tapped Rhino Warrior creatures, and then the Seedborn Muse trigger goes off, and we'll get them all untapped. So we have a whole load of instant blockers, which could be quite useful. Hydra Broodmaster, we can use Gwenna to help power this out when we go do the monstrous side of things, so that's quite cool. Mana Reflection, yeah, we're going to be producing a lot of mana, tapping them, getting more mana. It's really nice, even Gwen with this out taps for 4, which is a really nice little bump to the mana production side of things. Rampaging Balos, just so it's a 6/6 more than anything else, and the extra beast tokens are quite nice. Soul Harvest, draw cards. Avenger is Soul of Zendikar, create the beast tokens using Gwenna. And we can keep doing that and doing that and doing that, so that's quite nice. Tovala's Huntmaster's in as well, mainly for the fight ability, but it's a 6/6 for 6 mana, and it can flip if we've got someone else is playing Daybound, Nightbound. Again, it flipped over into the 7/7 version, giving some more wills is very nice. Vigor, yeah, you all should know what Vigor does by now. Damage would be dealt to another creature you control. Prevent that damage. Put a +1/+1 counter on that creature for each 1 damage prevented this way. It stops things like blasphemous acts dead in its track. So bear that in mind. Won't call engines here as well, because it's another creature that I decided would be quite fun in this deck. Because why wouldn't you want a creature that's 6/6 Death Touch lifelink, and when it dies, splits itself in half and leaves you one with Death Touch and one with lifelink? Seems like a bit of a no-brainer to me, hence why it's here. Going up to the 7 drops, Avenger of Zendikar. There's been a lot of discussion I've seen recently about people not appreciating Avenger of Zendikar turning up in all commander decks that have got green in them. Yeah, I appreciate it. I like it as a card. It's 7 mana. It doesn't really dominate the game unless you've got some way of giving everything haste. Okay, yes, I know I've got 1 way in here, but that's the only way I've got it. But yeah, having this drop in, yeah, and making all those plants, it makes it a little bit bigger. Yeah, why not? Sorry, deal with it. I think it's a great card. I've chucked in old Gnawbone just to help with our treasure mana production. I figured that was quite a cunning plan. And there's also another 7 drop so you can untap Gwen. But yeah, whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, create that many treasure tokens. Yeah, mana good. We like mana. Nyxbloom Ancient. Come down in price a lot on MTGO. I think it's under a tick at the moment. Real life price is still ticking up slightly, but it does mean that anything you tap for mana produces 3 times that much, and there's a reason why I've got this in here, along with the enchantment I mentioned earlier, which I've completely forgotten the name of now. There you go, Mana Reflection. There's a reason these 2 are in here. I'm trying to find it. The reason isn't Craterhoof, but hey, it's Craterhoof. Play Craterhoof. Screen deck, play Craterhoof. Going across. The Great Henge is in because it helps us with our life gain, gives us a bit of mana ramp. We're going to be able to get it down for sort of like 4 mana most of the time, maybe less with a bit of luck. Phyrexian Triniform. This is one of the reasons we have Nyxbloom and one of the reasons we have Mana Reflection in the deck. This is very nice. It dies, it comes in as a 9/9. When it dies, it leaves you 3 colourless golem tokens, and then you can encore it from your graveyard back into play. You exile this, you get 3 copies of it. They attack, well, yeah, if you've still got 3 opponents, attack each of your opponents. When they all die, you get all those nice golem tokens. Don't complain about it, it's great. But the main reason for Nyxbloom and Mana Reflection is Genesis Wave. Genesis Wave, as I've said several times now, is probably my favourite green card ever. I love this card. I've played it in Modern, I've played it in Standard. It's just fantastically good fun. And in this deck, it does mean that we can hit all these. Yes, we don't get the cast triggers for Gwen, I realise that. But just getting even some of this into play makes it so much easier to win the game. And I'm always aiming to hit Genesis Wave for 9. X equals 9, so I want 12 mana in play before I do this, because I don't want to have to get these in the graveyard. I want to be hitting my 8 X is 9 to make sure it works. So that's it really. That's like my little take on Gwenna. Am I convinced it's a good commander card? I'm not sure yet. I really don't know. I mean, the untap ability is nice, but just the mana production level's not very high, unless I've missed something. If I have missed anything, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what I've missed to make it even better. And hopefully you've hit the subscribe button, you've hit the like button, and you know, you've seen my little link to Twitch, and you'll come and see me on Twitch next time I'm streaming. So take care. Thanks for watching the video. I'll see you soon. Laters.